The story begins not in the shadows of some distant, forgotten war zone, but in sleek glass towers, behind LED-lit computer screens, and in chat boxes that promise love, opportunity, or easy money. At the surface, it looks like any other online interaction, harmless, maybe even exciting. But pull back the curtain just a little, and what's uncovered is one of the most horrifying criminal enterprises of the digital age. Worth nearly $19 million a year and fueled by the forced labor of more than 100,000 people. Modern-day slaves trapped in scam compounds scattered across Southeast Asia, with Cambodia at the heart of it all. The numbers alone are staggering. Every month, Indian citizens are losing over 1,000 crore rupees, roughly $120 million, to online scams, a significant portion of which are traced directly back to Cambodia. And this is just one country being targeted. Multiply that across nations like the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, and beyond, and the scale becomes truly global. These scams aren't run by a few clever hackers. They're operated by massive criminal syndicates who've built literal scam cities. Compounds with fences, guards, surveillance systems, and rooms packed with trafficked victims forced to run fraud schemes around the clock. In November 2025, the illusion cracked. A massive raid in the Cambodian border town of Bavay exposed just a fraction of what was really going on. Authorities arrested 658 individuals, including people from Japan, Vietnam, Singapore, the Philippines, and China. These weren't masterminds behind keyboards. Many were victims themselves, tricked, trafficked, and then coerced into scamming others. What investigators found inside the buildings was beyond chilling. Fake banking platforms that mimicked real institutions, scripts for romance scams, deepfake videos used in fake relationships, and even entire fake marathon charities designed to extort donations from unsuspecting users. In the aftermath of that raid, investigators realized that what they had uncovered was only the surface layer of a much larger, deeply embedded system that had been operating for years with near-total impunity. Behind locked doors and guarded hallways, evidence showed carefully timed work shifts, performance scoreboards tracking how much money each worker scammed, and punishment logs detailing beatings for those who failed to meet daily targets. Some rooms were dedicated entirely to training, where new captives were taught how to sound convincing, how to manipulate emotions, and how to respond when victims became suspicious. Authorities also found internal hierarchies, with supervisors enforcing rules more brutally than guards to prove loyalty to crime bosses who rarely appeared on site. Financial records suggested money was being funneled out through layered shell companies and crypto wallets within minutes of each successful scam. Survivors later described how hope was slowly crushed, as days blurred together with no sense of time, no contact with family, and constant psychological pressure. Several victims said they were forced to scam people from their own countries, intensifying guilt and trauma. Medical checks were reportedly denied unless someone collapsed, and escape attempts were met with public punishment to deter others. Investigators noted that many detainees initially feared arrest more than rescue, having been conditioned to believe police were part of the same system. The raid exposed how fear, technology, and organized crime had fused into a factory-like operation where human lives were treated as disposable assets rather than people. This wasn't some small criminal pocket. It was systemic, it was industrial, and it was global. Inside these scam centers, people were working 15 to 20 hours a day under the constant threat of beatings, torture, or worse. Their passports confiscated, phones monitored, and any attempt to escape met with brutal consequences. They were made to send voice notes to scam victims, to build fake relationships, to create fake investment opportunities, or to impersonate government officials. In one chilling case, an 82-year-old man in Delhi lost over 1 crore 16 lakh rupees after he was targeted in a digital arrest scam, manipulated into believing he was under investigation and had to pay to clear his name. The person convincing him? Possibly another victim, locked in a compound in Cambodia, speaking through a script at gunpoint. A massive investigation by Amnesty International documented these abuses. The victims weren't just foreign nationals. They included Indians, Africans, Chinese, and Southeast Asians. All were lured with fake promises of legitimate tech jobs or marketing roles in booming economies. Once they crossed borders, often into Myanmar or Laos, and then smuggled into Cambodia, their reality changed fast. Security guards confiscated their documents. Communication with families was cut off. Many were beaten into submission, and any resistance could result in electrocution, solitary confinement, or public torture. Some were sold from one scam center to another for tens of thousands of dollars like property. Many survivors interviewed by human rights organizations painted an even grimmer picture than initially understood. Some described being confined in overcrowded dormitories with no windows, where sleep was limited to a few hours a night under constant fluorescent lighting. Others revealed they were denied access to basic hygiene, with limited water and barely enough food to survive, conditions designed to weaken both body and spirit. Victims were routinely drugged to suppress resistance, and loudspeakers blasted propaganda and instructions for scam scripts throughout the day. Several of them mentioned being forced to record fake testimonies on video, pretending to be satisfied investors or loved ones to be used in new scams. Women in particular faced not only labor exploitation, but frequent sexual abuse, often traded among criminal operators within the compounds. One rescued individual reported watching people around him disappear overnight, sold to even harsher compounds when they became sick, slow, or defiant. Families back home were often extorted too, told their loved ones would be released if they paid ransom, only for the victims to remain imprisoned regardless. Amnesty's findings pointed to a broader ecosystem of complicity, where local authorities in certain regions looked the other way, allowing these compounds to thrive in exchange for bribes or a cut of the profits. Even in cases where police conducted raids, some victims were re-traumatized by being treated as criminals instead of being protected. For many, rescue didn't mean freedom. It meant detention, deportation, or silence. While this was unfolding, Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet established a special committee to tackle the cyber scam menace. In the months following the Bavay raid, law enforcement cracked down on 92 separate locations across 18 provinces. They arrested more than 3,000 suspects from over 20 different nationalities. But even with these efforts, the criminal networks adapted fast, and the money still flowing. So how does a scam of this size stay invisible for so long? Part of it comes down to the evolution of technology. With the rise of artificial intelligence, scammers can now generate fake romantic partners who seem charming, responsive, and believable. AI-driven video calls with deep-faked faces allow criminals to pretend to be someone else entirely. Voice changes let male workers impersonate women or government officials. Every interaction is scripted, rehearsed, and refined to manipulate the human mind and the heart. Victims get emotionally invested, believe they're helping someone they love, or think they're participating in a once-in-a-lifetime investment. And by the time the scam is exposed, the money is gone, and so is the scammer. Part of it comes down to the evolution of technology. With the rise of artificial intelligence, scammers can now generate fake romantic partners who seem charming, responsive, and believable. AI-driven video calls with deep-faked faces allow criminals to pretend to be someone else entirely. Voice changes let male workers impersonate women or government officials. Every interaction is scripted, rehearsed, and refined to manipulate the human mind and the heart. Victims get emotionally invested, believe they're helping someone they love, or think they're participating in a once-in-a-lifetime investment. And by the time the scam is exposed, the money is gone, and so is the scammer. But the victims inside the compounds don't see the profits. They're not driving Lamborghinis or sitting in sky-high condos. Many are starving, dehydrated, and sleep-deprived. They work in packed rooms with little ventilation, barely functioning bathrooms, and no privacy. Some have been there for years, and some never leave. The roots of this empire go deep into organized crime, particularly Chinese triads who operate across Southeast Asia. They fund the scam centers, protect them with private militias, and smuggle new victims across porous borders. Many routes start in India or Africa, where recruiters advertise jobs on legitimate-looking websites. Desperate for work, people sign up and are promised visas, travel, and housing. Once they arrive, their journey turns into a nightmare. Trafficking often happens through Thailand or Laos, and once the victims are inside Cambodia, they disappear. Border controls are weak, bribery is common, and the scam centers operate in areas with little to no government oversight. Some compounds are built in special economic zones where surveillance is low and regulations are relaxed. Others exist in plain sight, camouflaged as legitimate tech parks or business centers. Thailand, in response, has stepped up border controls and begun joint operations with Cambodia to intercept trafficked individuals. But catching the networks behind it remains incredibly difficult. Many scam centers are operated remotely, with different syndicates handling recruitment, transport, operations, and money laundering. They use crypto wallets, shell companies, and offshore accounts to wash the stolen money. And by the time any one link is broken, the rest of the chain has already moved. Cambodia, meanwhile, now holds the dark title of ranking #1 in Southeast Asia's 2025 Crime Index, a grim reflection of how cybercrime has overshadowed everything else. Even with high-level raids and international scrutiny, the industry is resilient. It's too profitable, too well-organized, and too hidden in plain sight. This isn't just about stolen money, it's about stolen lives, people with families, with dreams, with futures, reduced to tools in a digital con machine. And as scams get more sophisticated, the line between victim and perpetrator gets blurred. Many of the voices on the other side of that phone call, asking for your OTP or pretending to be your lover, are victims too, forced to survive in an environment where saying no might mean never seeing daylight again. The horror of these scam empires isn't just in their cruelty, but in their invisibility. Pressure authorities to act, not just with arrests, but with real protections for victims. Subscribe for more in-depth stories that uncover what others want hidden, and hit the bell so you never miss the truth when it drops. Stay safe, stay alert, and don't trust everything you see online.